Part 1 was about why SQL matters. Part 2 covered CRUD, DDL, and DML, the commands that create and change data. This is Part 3, join, connecting tables together. Because almost no real business question lives in just one table, and join are how you put the pieces back together to actually get an answer. If you've ever looked at a report that combines customer names with their order totals and wondered how those two completely separate pieces of information ended up on the same row, that answer is almost certainly a join. Here's the problem every real database eventually runs into. Your data isn't stored in one giant table, it's spread across several. Customers in one table, orders in another, maybe products and order items in two more. Join are the tool that lets you combine rows from different tables based on a shared column, so you can ask a question that spans more than one of them at once. Without this, you'd either need one impossibly wide table holding everything, or you'd be stuck running separate queries and manually stitching the results together yourself. So why does data live in separate tables in the first place? This is deliberate design, not an accident. First, it avoids repeating data. A customer's name and address shouldn't be copy-pasted into every single order row they place. Second, it keeps data consistent. Update a customer's email once, in one place, instead of hunting down every order row that mentions them. And this general practice has a name: normalization, the standard approach of splitting data into focused, related tables instead of one giant spreadsheet trying to hold everything. Almost every production database you'll ever touch is built this way. Let's set up the two tables we'll use throughout this video. The customers table has a customer ID as its primary key, along with name, email, and sign-up date. The orders table has its own order ID as primary key, but also a customer ID column. This is a foreign key. It points back to a row in the customers table. That shared column, customer ID, is exactly what a join uses to connect the two tables together. Let's start with the most common join, inner join. This returns only the rows that match in both tables. In our Venn diagram, that's just the overlap, the lens-shaped middle section. In code, select customer name and order total from customers, inner join orders, on matching customer ID. The result only includes customers who have actually placed at least one order. A customer with 0 orders simply won't appear in the results at all. Next, left join, probably the join you'll use second most often. This keeps everything from the left table, customers in our case, and brings in matches from the right table, orders, wherever they exist. In the Venn diagram, that's the entire left circle. In code, it looks almost identical to inner join, just swap the keyword. But now, customers with no orders still appear in the results, with the order total column simply showing as null instead of the row disappearing. Right join is the mirror image of left join. It keeps everything from the right table and brings in matches from the left wherever they exist. Here, that means every order appears, even if, hypothetically, its customer record were somehow missing. Honestly, right join is rarely used in practice. Most people just swap the order of the tables in the from and join clauses and use a left join instead, since it reads more naturally left to right. And full outer join combines both directions. Everything from both tables, matched wherever possible, with null filling in the gaps on whichever side doesn't have a match. In the Venn diagram, that's the entire combined area of both circles. This is particularly useful for auditing, finding mismatches or orphaned records on either side of a relationship, customers with no orders, and orders that somehow reference a customer that doesn't exist. Let's put all four side by side. Inner join means, show me only the matches, good for a revenue report on customers who actually bought something. Left join means, show me everything on my main list, plus matches, good for showing every customer with their order total or null if they haven't ordered yet. Right join means the same thing in reverse, but it's rare, usually rewritten as a left join with the table swapped. And full outer join means, show me everything from both, matched or not, good for auditing work. Let's apply this to a real business question. What's total revenue per customer, including customers who haven't bought anything yet? Here's the query. Select customer name, and the sum of order total using coalesce to turn a null into a clean 0. From customers, left join orders on matching customer ID. Group by customer name, order by total revenue descending. The left join is what keeps every customer in the results, even the ones with no orders at all. And coalesce turns their missing revenue into an honest 0 instead of a blank. Real schemas rarely stop at just 2 tables. Here we've got 4: customers, orders, order items, and products. Each one connects to the next by its own shared key. Orders links to customers by customer ID. Order items links to orders by order ID. And products links to order items by product ID. That little symbol between the tables, a bow-tie shape, is the mathematical notation for a join. You'll sometimes see it in database diagrams and academic material. Here's what joining 3 tables actually looks like in code. Answering the question, which products has each customer actually bought? Select customer name, product name, and quantity. From customers, inner join orders on customer ID, inner join order items on order ID, inner join products on product ID. 3 joins, 1 readable chain. Each one just connects the next table using a shared key, and you can keep extending this pattern to as many tables as your question actually needs. Now, some common mistakes worth knowing before you hit them yourself. First, forgetting the on condition entirely. Without it, SQL pairs every row in one table with every row in the other, a Cartesian product that can produce millions of rows out of 2 fairly small tables, and can genuinely slow down or even crash a query against larger tables. Second, using inner join when you actually needed left join. This silently drops rows that don't match. A revenue report can quietly exclude customers who haven't ordered yet, understating your actual customer count without any error or warning, which is exactly the kind of mistake that looks fine until someone asks why the numbers don't add up. And third, ambiguous column names. If both tables have a column called ID, SQL won't know which one you mean. Always use table aliases, like C. and O. to be explicit about which table each column is coming from. Let's walk through a genuinely useful pattern. Finding what's missing. The question is, which customers have never placed an order? Here's the query. Select customer name. From customers, left join orders on matching customer ID, where order ID is null. This pattern is called an anti-join. The left join keeps every customer in the results, the where clause then filters down to only the ones where nothing matched on the right side, exactly the customers with 0 orders, and this exact pattern shows up constantly in real analytics work, anywhere you need to find records on one side of a relationship with nothing corresponding on the other. A quick, honest word on performance. Join can get slow on large tables if the columns you're joining on aren't indexed. The practical habit to build: make sure foreign key columns, like customer ID in the orders table, have an index. Most databases index primary keys automatically, but foreign keys usually need one added explicitly by whoever designs the schema. You don't need to be a performance expert to write good joins. You just need to know this is a lever you can pull if a query that used to be fast suddenly isn't anymore. So here's the takeaway. Your data was never meant to live in one table, and join or how you put it back together to answer a real question. Inner for matches only. Left to keep everything on your main list. Watch out for Cartesian products when you forget the on condition, and always alias your tables to avoid ambiguity. Next up in this series, group by and aggregations, turning joined rows into real summaries, totals, counts, and averages, and actually answer the business question you started with. Thanks for watching.